Well, anti-Christian raids are happening right now all across the globe. Specifically, Jehovah Witnesses are being rounded up and jailed in countries from Russia to North Korea to China and many others. Now, this is obviously a major issue if you hold any religious value whatsoever, whether you're a Christian, a Jew, a Catholic, a Jehovah Witness, Muslim, it doesn't matter. This signals a massive red alarm for anyone of any faith. And if you're a Christian, this has got to hit home even more because Jehovah Witnesses, while I don't agree with what they specifically stand for, they are a certain division within the Christian faith. And that means that they could go after anyone specifically next. This is eerily similar to stuff that happens in the biblical book of Revelations. But before I get into this report, I want to give you a quick reminder. Please don't forget to check out my partner at noblegoldinvestments.com. Now is the time to get that 401k or Roth IRA, but get something backed by gold, silver, and precious metals. And I know silver has been a hot commodity, but right now you can get this Apollo 11 coin. This thing is really awesome. And I've actually gotten it for my dad as well, but you can get this with any approved IRA. So give them a call today at the number on the screen or go to noblegoldinvestments.com and let them know Lisa Haven sent you. All right. So let's jump right into this first article here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And keep in mind, this should hit home for anyone with any religious belief. And here we are on Breitbart.com. Russia, anti-Christian raids result in the mass detention of Jehovah Witnesses. And this is coming from Russia. Right? But here it is. Russia police on Wednesday, and this article was published February 10th, very recently, 2021, announced its detention of an unspecified numbers of Jehovah Witnesses, along with raids on 16 different properties in the Moscow area. The JW religion was banned, and I want you to keep this in mind, as an extremist, basically extremist group by Russia court order in 2017. Right now, in the United States of America, they are putting together domestic terrorist bills and bulletins that are outright terrifying if you are a religious person, a Christian person, or a patriot or conservative, these kinds of things. Ours right now in the United States of America have a political slant. However, not all of it does. And this is why I think we need to pay attention to what's going on. But here's some other things that's happening in Russia. This is on today.ng. Russia invades home of Jehovah Witnesses. Then we have NPR.org. Russia court sentences Jehovah Witnesses to 6 years in prison for extremism. What was his crime? Practicing Jehovah Witnesses. No joke, because you practice your faith. That's a crime over in Russia. Then we have FoxNews.com. Jehovah Witnesses in Russia claim that they were choked, beat, and tasered by authorities, according to a report, and that was published February 14th. There you have that one. Let's move on over to Crimea, right? And this is on amnesty.org. Crimea, Jehovah Witnesses sentenced to 6 years in Penal County. Then we have here, Enria has held 3 Jehovah Witnesses in jail for 25 years. And then we have another one here, 28 Jehovah Witnesses jailed for their faith have recently been released in that same country. So thankfully, some are getting released in some areas, but this is on Star Connect Media, but they're not the only countries. Let's go on over to South Korea. Jehovah Witnesses start prison work terms. Then we have here on the diplomat.com, 9 Jehovah Witnesses remain detained in Turkmenistan. 9 of them, right? But let's move on a little bit more. Jehovah Witnesses sentenced to prison in China's area, right? This is on licas.news. And then we have this little number, which I thought was interesting. And this is on the Jehovah Witnesses actual site here, jw.org. And it says how many have been imprisoned for their faith. And this is their imprisonment for faith as of February 2021. We have Crimea 6, we have Eritrea 20, Russia 38, Singapore 12, South Korea, and then we have 2 here, 14 here, and over 45 in other specified areas. Why is this an issue? Well, Jehovah Witnesses, they are a shall I say, sect of Christianity. Christianity has a whole bunch of different areas, I guess, it can reside. And I'm being very, not to, how do I say, bland statement. Obviously, there's a lot more to it. But if they're going after one religion for their belief and faith, and that has a lot of, it falls within Christianity, what's to stop them from, say, going after Christians or going after Jews or going after Catholics or fill in the blank, right? And I think what I want to remind you guys of, and I've done a lot of reports on this on Restricted Republic. By the way, if you're not on Restricted Republic, I don't know how much time we are going to be around on these alternative platforms. Look, we are getting censored off every platform because of what you see. You have Jehovah Witnesses who are getting round up, literally taken to jails. Over in China, if you're a Muslim, a Christian, or a Falun Gong, you're getting taken to literal re-education camps, and nobody really knows what happens if they end up dead or come back. Some don't come back, by the way. And this is why I created restrictiverepublic.com with Justice Night. And right now, because of everything that's happening, we're offering it for $5 a month. This is a great deal. Use the code TRUMP, T-R-U-M-P, Trump, and get that discount, especially in light of the impeachment. That's why we did that. But we have to start moving on over because of what's happening in the United States of America and abroad, because what happens abroad could very likely happen here in the United States of America. That's why I say it's critical. And that's why I started Restricted Republic. But anyhow, the fact of the matter is Christians are the #1 persecuted group right now. We are the #1 persecuted group. And that changes with time, but you can see how it's happening even with Jehovah Witnesses and Muslims, right? But these are things we can't ignore. And why can't we ignore them? Well, because here in the United States of America, they are literally creating domestic terrorist lists. And while they don't specifically say Christians are on that list or conservatives specifically, well, they actually say, according to John Brennan, and I'm going to show you, he labels libertarians as a possible extremist group. And I'm a libertarian, right? I've got libertarian conservative views. But I'm like, this is livid. Those who are conservative and more libertarian in nature tend to be more of Christian. Of course, you can find Christians on both sides of the fence, but that's the problem I have with it. Take a listen, and I've played this before, but it's important, but take a listen to what John Brennan has to say here.
Forward that the members of the Biden team who have been nominated or have been appointed are now moving in laser-like fashion to try to uncover as much as they can about what looks very similar to insurgency movements that we've seen overseas, where they germinate in different parts of the country and they gain strength, and it brings together an unholy alliance frequently of religious extremists, authoritarians, fascists, bigots, racists, nativists, even libertarians.
That's it. Even libertarians and religious extremists. Well, what's your definition there, Brennan, of a religious extremist? Ta-da! It really opens it up. But from religious extremism, could extremism mean that if you believe or are against abortion, is that an extremist thing? Or could it be, I mean, fill in the blank. I mean, so many people believe one way or the other. And that's why Tulsi Gabbard put this out, and she's a Democrat, by the way, and I've shared this before, but it's really important to share over again. And here we are, WashingtonTimes.com. Tulsi Gabbard slams dangerous domestic terrorist bill targeting almost half the country, and she isn't wrong. What bill is she referring to? This one right here, HR 350, and it's terrifying because it's a Patriot Act 2.0 on steroids. And I've really dove through this thing on RestrictedRepublic.com. Again, you got to get on over there because there's limited stuff we can say here, and you want the uncensored content, that's where you're going to get it, right? But this act specifically really calls into question, they have white nationalists. What exactly does that mean, right? What is a white nationalist? That's a question that I have. Is it just because you're white and you love your country, does that put you as a domestic terrorist? I mean, these are questions we have to start asking, and why a Democrat, and I think she's more libertarian in nature, is warning that half the country could be targeted by this thing. She's wrong. And when we see what's happening abroad, what happens abroad happens here, right? That's why we have to pay attention. And then, of course, I also touched on this bulletin. This is a bulletin by the National Terrorist Advisory System by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security that went in effect January 27, 2021, there at the top right, and it doesn't expire until 2021. Chances are they could extend it, but what do they specifically say? Throughout 2020, domestic violent extremists targeted individuals with opposing views engaging in First Amendment protected nonviolent protest activity. domestic violent extremisms are motivated by a range of issues. What are these range of issues they're saying we're motivated by? Anger over restrictions from COVID-19. The 2020 election results. Wow, those seem to be more views of people who believe in freedom. Let's just put it that way. And police use of force that have been plotted and on the occasion carried out attacks against government facilities. And then they go on to list examples and more on COVID-19 and what could happen. But I don't want to completely retouch on that. I know I did a whole report on that on restricted, but I think it's absolutely critical in light of everything that's going on, because we're getting told basically we have to stay now in our states with what Biden is attempting to put through, saying you have to have certain tests or regulations just to get into another state. I mean, we have crossed, we're China. There is no questions. There is no if and or buts. If we can't even travel state to state without certain restrictions, rules, maybe he'll put in little border crossings for the American people. I mean, really? This is worse than George Orwell's 1984 at this point. Soon, it will come to the point where people are knocking on your doors. We don't like your belief. We don't like your social media. We don't like what you posted. And God, I hope that's not true. I don't know what the future holds. Let me be honest. But I can read history and I know what happened in the past. And I see what's happening in the United States of America, and it is chilling. Anyhow, I wanted to bring you all of this information. Again, get on over to restrictiverepublic.com. Take advantage of that special offer for only $5 a month using the code TRUMP. Anyhow, I love all of you. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.